I can truly say I wish I didn't have to make this video, but unfortunately I do, because today I'm going to be walking you through the 4 red flags I want you to watch out for to make sure you don't get scammed on your path to getting your book in the world. My name's Kelly Notaris. I'm the founder of KN Literary Arts. We are your one-stop shop, getting you from wherever you are to having a book in your hand. So please visit us at knliterary.com. I've also been a book editor in the US publishing business for over 25 years. And in that time, I have learned a lot about how it works. And I bring it all to you for free right here on this YouTube channel. So please hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you never miss a video. All right, as I said, wish I didn't have to make this video, but I do, because so often at KN Literary, we are getting calls from people who have been scammed or are afraid of being scammed on their way to getting their book in the world. So I want to lay out the 4 top red flags that I see so you can, at the very least, do your due diligence if any of these ever crosses your path. So the first red flag that I see is if an agent or publisher has reached out to you telling you they think you're amazing and they want to either take you on and represent you or publish you, and you don't have a platform, meaning you're not out in the world with an audience talking to people every day on social media or speaking engagements, or you don't have a column in your local magazine or whatever it might be. How would they know about you to be able to contact you and say, I want to help you get your book in the world? The answer, unfortunately, is usually that they have bought some sort of a contact information list from someone you registered your email address or phone number with about your interest in publishing a book. And then that organization has sold the list and people have bought it, and then they're calling you trying to get you to give them money. That is usually the way this scam goes. So sorry to say it. So if you are an influencer, if you are a thought leader, if you have published short stories in some sort of a journal, if it is actually public information that you're writing a book or that you have something to write about, that's a different story. They might be legitimate. You need to do more research. But if you're pretty sure there's no way they knew that you were writing a book, just don't even respond. Too often I've heard of publishers sending a contract in the first communication saying, just sign this contract and I will publish you, or sign this contract and I will publish your essay in this anthology that I'm putting into the world. I mean, there's just a million different flavors to this scam. Or it's an agent who will say, I'm going to agent you, but first you need to pay me money so that I can help you get ready. Okay. So in all of these cases, the fishy part is them reaching out to you, because more often than not, I mean, almost always, unless you are a presence out there in the world who has written a great article that went viral, or has a platform on social media, or is already teaching, if there's no way people know about you, how does this agent or publisher know about you? Do your research in this case. And if it feels like it's too good to be true, it probably is. The second scam that I see also falls in the category of too good to be true. It's people who are saying to you, I can help you get a book in the world in 1 month or in 3 months. So if you're not in the book publishing business, you might think, oh, 1 month or 3 months is enough time. I want to tell you that true publishers take oftentimes 12 to 18 months from the time they get the full manuscript delivered to get the book set up well to be published. That means edited, the cover design really well thought out, getting their media and marketing plan together. It takes time, and it takes time even if you're self-publishing. 3 months from zero to having a manuscript, to having it edited, to getting it laid out, to getting it into book form, it's just not enough time. If they're promising you that, what they're actually saying is, I am going to push you to write an extremely short book. I'm going to convince you that done is good enough and you don't need editing and you don't need help. And we're going to get it self-published and you're going to pay me a large amount of money for that. I tell this story often, but I'll say it again. I was visiting a town that is not my own town, and a friend said, I want you to meet my friend. She just published her book. And I said, okay, I would love to meet her. Why don't I, let's go over to her house. We went over to this lovely woman's house, and she had a box of books, and she handed me the book, and she said, well, it's not my best work, but done is good enough, right? And the fact is, when it comes to a book, done is not good enough. It needs to be far better than done. It needs to be great. Because if it's not, no one is going to read it. And then all that time, effort, and energy that you put into it is going to be wasted. That is the last thing that any legitimate editor or writer or publisher or self-publisher is going to want for you. They want you to have a book that is going to shine. And they know if they're in the publishing business, it takes longer than a month, it takes longer than 3 months. If the amount of time you're being promised sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Third red flag is people who are offering to do it super inexpensively or even for free. I hear this all the time. People are getting scammed by editors who say, oh, just give me $500 and I'll edit your book. And then guess what? They disappear because a legitimate editor cannot actually give their time, their attention, their love to a full-length manuscript for $500. It's too small a sum. And so if you're working with somebody who's just getting started as an editor and they let you know that, or you're choosing to hire someone who's not actually an editor for a living, okay. So then it might be inexpensive. But if what you're trying to do is work with an editor who really knows what they're talking about, who has the experience, the longevity in the business to know what's going to work and what's not going to work, you are going to need to be paying them a reasonable amount of money for their time. So anything that sounds too inexpensive, please, please, please do your research. Recently, something came up in my Facebook feed that said, like, you can write your whole book in 60 seconds. I'm not kidding. Well, guess what it was? Obviously, it was AI. Now, is there going to be a time down the road when you can like plug something into your brain and then it can download all the information you have or the whole story of your novel or whatever it is, and it can boom, write it in 60 seconds? Maybe. I mean, crazier things are possible, right? We are living in a really interesting time, but it is not the case right now. The best that you can get from AI at the moment is a great outline based on content you've already written. So for example, feeding the AI with a bunch of your blogs and transcripts from your teachings, or, even character descriptions and ideas for an arc. And then the AI can provide you with help creating an outline. That is something that I've heard people are doing these days. I still track with human beings, please, people who've been in the business. But if you want to get that kind of help, that is available via AI. But writing an entire book that anybody but a robot is going to want to read, not yet available. It will be available probably at some point, but it's not right now. So the fourth and final red flag is when somebody promises you that they know for sure your book is going to be of interest to a publisher. Here's the fact of the matter. I've been in the book business for 25 years. I don't even know when I see a book proposal whether or not it will find a publisher. There are book proposals I see that I'm like, wow, this is fabulous. This person has a really great platform, a really great idea, and their writing is excellent. That sets you up really well for a publisher wanting to take you on. But even in that case, I would not make a promise because the business is not a science. It's an art. Traditional publishers are working at the mercy of the list that they have published in the past, the list they have coming up, what the market forces are. There's just so many different pieces that go into the puzzle of whether or not a traditional publisher takes on a particular book, that anyone who is promising you that if you pay them this amount of money, you will be getting a book deal. Book deals don't come from an exchange of money. You can set yourself up in the best possible way. They can help you get closer to a book deal, but there is no guarantee. So you have to go into any engagement with an editor or an agent or anybody that has come to you saying, I really think your book has promise. You have to go into it with a sense of surrender, humility, and adventure. It's very possible that the first publisher or 2 or 5 won't want it, but will the 6th or the 10th or the 25th? Maybe. So you have to hold it all lightly and think about the process itself as being the journey for you. Anyone who's promising you that they can get you a book deal, red flag. Do more research, talk to other clients they've promised that to who actually have gotten a book deal, see what their setup was, what kind of background they had, etc. Make sure it feels like a good match and true to you, certainly before you ever hand over any money. Because anyone who's promising you a book deal and asking you to give them money, that's red flag on top of red flag. Be really careful. All right, my friends, as I said, we are a company that has received a lot of refugees from scams in the past, and over and over and over again, we hear, thank you so much. I got more than what I paid for. I did not know how important it was going to be to work with an editor. I feel like everything has changed and I now know the direction I want to go in. Or their help made my book so much better than I ever thought it could be. Or I didn't think I could write a book, but then I worked with your writer and now I have a book I'm extremely proud of. Over and over again, we get that kind of feedback because we show up for the promises we make. And we have a very clear contract that lays out exactly what you're going to get. We never overpromise you that you're going to get a book deal or that you're going to sell a million copies. What we can promise you, and this is from my true heart, is that if you are feeling called to write a book, it's because there's something in it for you that is critical and important. And it's something that life wants for you. So you have to keep going and investigate, see what's on the other side of that. Please follow that dream, whether you work with a publisher or an agent or an editor. Write the book. It will bring something about in your life that you never knew was possible. And that's what I want more than anything for you. All right, my friends, I hope this has been helpful. Let us know below if there are any other scams that you've encountered that you feel like you want to know our take on, because we are happy to give you our take on that. And regardless, I hope you stay free of scams from now into forever and you get your book in the world, because there's a reason why you want to do it. And I would love to see it on the shelf. All right, my friends, best to you and happy writing.